This episode is brought to you by the Law Office of Carlos A. Garcia. Serious cases require a serious lawyer. Board certified in criminal law.
Ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Just a few hours ago, we reached 15,000 subscribers, Papa! ¡Alba! ¡Órale! Óyeme, de todos los Estados Unidos, México, Canadá, Japón, China, Nuevo León, Australia, Rusia, África, Europa y la chingada. Y no estoy hablando de la rola de Santana y Europa, estoy hablando del país, Europa, carnal. 15,000 subscribers. Pones el gráfico otra vez porque está bien chulo, bien bonito. Y no lo vamos a estar poniendo todo el tiempo porque pues sí, nos vamos a pasar de 15,000. Vamos a hacer 15,000 en one y pues como chingamos vamos a usar 15,000. Chingao. If you look under the My PVT ahí en el ladito abajito del video, ahí dice 15K, papá, para que sepas, carnal.
Wow,
Sústame. Awesome. Los estamos poniendo bien popular. Bien popular.
I'm gonna show them where they can see underneath my PVT network.
Órale, do it.
It says 15,000 subscribers.
15,000, no pecate.
Oh
all right, ladies and gentlemen. So this past week, this happened. Mm-hmm. There was an incident at a high school football game here in Edinburg, Texas. And right now we're having like local playoffs, I think, where the local Rio Grande Valley teams are playing each other. And there was an incident where a player got upset, okay? And he ran on the field and he blindsided a referee. We're going to go ahead and show you the video right now, and it's got some audio. So check it out and we'll talk about it when we come back, okay?
Has been disqualified. Has been disqualified.
So as you can see,
wow.
It was kind of tragic to see that. I mean, because nobody wants to see the football players behave in that manner. I personally know the referee. His name is Freddy Gracia. I've known him for all my life. He's about, I guess, in his upper 50s and grew up. The Gracia family, they grew up in the housing projects. They're in Mercedes, and they came out and the housing projects, and they love sports, and that's what compelled them to get involved in sports. And he's been officiating for a long time. He's been part of the TASO organization, which is the organization that handles all the referees and all the officiating from the state of Texas. And apparently, this young man named Emmanuel Duron is his name.
Yes.
He was called for unsportsmanlike conduct. Apparently, he put a late hit on the quarterback. That is what we've heard. And so it wasn't the first time he's been, given that infraction. And so el vato se le volaron. He ran on the field and he attacked the referee. And it's a sad thing. He ended up being arrested. And what happened is the Edinburg Independent School District, en vez de castigar al player, castigaron a todo el team. Mm-hmm. They decided that they were going to forfeit the playoffs for the Edinburg Bobcats. Now, that didn't go well with the families of the other players, but I think they were doing it because they knew that the UIL was going to do something about it as well. Yeah. They were probably going to take that action. Do you have any information on that, babe?
Yes, I do. So the school district released this formal statement, and the statement says the UIL has made it clear to interim superintendent Gilbert Garza Jr. that UIL would have removed the football team from the playoffs if the district did not withdraw the team. Under the Texas law and district policy, the interim superintendent was authorized to move forward with the decision. Mr. Garza has confirmed this after consulting with the district's legal counsel. In connection with the incident, the UIL released the following statement as well. So the UIL also released a statement that says, the UIL strongly condemns the unsportsmanlike behavior displayed in the Edinburg versus PSJ High School football game on December 3rd, 2020. Physical contact with a sports official is never appropriate. Our thoughts and well wishes are with the official involved. We applaud the Edinburg CISD administration for addressing the situation swiftly and taking appropriate action in removing themselves from the playoffs and for dealing with the student involved in the incident.
A lot of people are saying that it's not fair for the whole team to take it. But you have to look at it in the perspective that sometimes when kids do this, and even though they're reprimanded y los castigan, they turn into like heroes.
Yeah.
You know, hey, no me saqué el vato que hizo ese gale, no me vato, sácate la pinche daga y esto, lo otro, y vato, y no, hombre, vato, le diste un chingado bruto. They'll celebrate the guy.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, and I'm assuming that the school district decided to do this because it affected the entire team. I think that is a bigger punishment than just, you know, him getting reprimanded. Obviously it is. I mean, but I think the next time a player thinks of doing that, they're going to know that the rest of the team is on the line for them. And and besides that, the rest of the team will run up there and tackle him before he does anything.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I don't know what's going to happen with the coach, though, because the coach is the leader of the team, and he obviously didn't have any control over this kid. But it's really hard nowadays. You can't do anything to kids. You can't talk to them bad in school. You can't. There's no paddling. There's no. I mean, you can't suspend them and send them home. Back when I was a kid, te hacían suspend, te mandaban para la casa, y ahí en la casa te regañaban, y you had to face consequences because your parents didn't want you at home. They wanted you at school. Now they have in-school suspension. You know, I mean, they just send you in another room and you're just away from everybody. But it's not the same as being sent home. You get sent home, then your parents get involved, and the parents end up, you know, trying to fix that situation to where it never happens. It better not happen again because I don't want you home.
Yeah.
You know? So there's been a lot of changes that have gone on in school since I've grown up. I mean, when I was a kid, you know, they give you a paddling, even though, you know, some of that times it wouldn't work, right? But then they had suspension, you know, send you home. They had detention. They had things like that. They had expulsion, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do people think? I mean, what are they saying?
Well, Daniel Lopez says it's a lesson to the rest of the kids about accountability.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly true. I mean, they have to be accountable for their own actions. I mean, that's the real world. And unfortunately, you know, some kids, like you were saying, you know, they do stuff like this and everyone around them glorifies their actions.
Yeah.
And, I mean, not even their actions, they're unlawful actions. So I really do, you know, it's unfortunate what happened, and that's just, you know.
I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about, you know, what can the referee do, you know, as far as lawsuits and stuff like that. Who's liable? You know, I don't know if the ref can go after his family and
they're
sue
asking,
them.
so what happened to the kid? And so the kid did get formally arrested. He did get arrested. So
I had a policeman also text me when we were talking about it on the radio this weekend or this week, saying that depending on the seriousness of the injury on the official, it can be up to a felony.
Yes.
For what he did. So he has been, according to some reports, he's been arrested and he's been charged with assault, which is exactly what it is. It doesn't matter if it's during a football game. It's, you know, it happened, and anybody that assaults another person, I mean, and he was one of their star players too, Raza. I mean, este chaval está desgraciado. I mean, he was I mean, he's a wrestler, and he was going to go for the state title. He's a kicker, and I think he was in soccer, if I'm not mistaken, but his kicking ability is remarkable. He's kicked up to 60-yard field goals, you know, and so the kid is an amazing athlete. Eso sí no se lo puedes quitar al chavalo, ¿me entiendes? Está desgraciado. He was a defensive lineman, and he would reach the quarterback and everything, but I guess he was getting a little too rough, you know, with the quarterbacks and hitting late. That's what they had given him. And it got to the point where they, you know, I don't know if they told him, all right, you got to, and then he said something to the ref. I don't know what it is, but when I saw the video and I knew that was my friend and I saw this kid do that to him, I got angry, dude. I mean, you know, porque yo conozco a Freddy. Freddy's es buena gente, man. I mean, he's one of the nicest, most passive persons you could ever meet, you know.
Yeah.
I've never seen him. He's never gotten in a fight. He wasn't a rowdy guy like me and the rest of our guys that we hung out. You know, este chavo no era rowdy así, era bien, you know, straightforward, humble, you know, came from humble beginnings. And he's been officiating for, man, like 25, almost 30 years, probably more than 30 years. He's been officiating. And those officials don't make much, man. I mean, and they spend, you know, they have regular 9-to-5 jobs, and then they do this on the side. Because why? Because they love doing things like this, you know. And they're not perfect. You know, I've seen a lot of parents que a veces que se enojan con los officials y comienzan a aventarles madres y, you know, that. And I've seen even in the Little League and other little baseball games where parents attack coaches and parents attack officials. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. You know what I mean? Pero, you know, pues ni modo para los Edinburg Bobcats, who have always had some pretty good teams. When Coach Vela was coaching them back in the day, I mean, Coach Vela, que en paz descanse, buen amigo mío también, and le gustaba chingo la música de acordeón al coach, and he had some pretty good players too back in the day, Corbin Epps, and there was another kid that they had, his name was Steve Alanis también. Steve Alanis went to Notre Dame. So Edinburgh's had some pretty good football programs, you know. So, you know, unfortunately this happened, and hopefully it doesn't happen, and hopefully every school in Texas shows this, like a little documentary of what happened to their football players before they hit the field or before the football season starts, and says, you got to review this, and you remember, if you do anything like this, it's going to cost the entire team. It's not just going to cost you. So your behavior on the field is very important. And hopefully it'll never happen again.
And those are key components. I mean, as being part of a team, those are key components that as a coach you teach your players. You know, any team, even in any organization, it's about respect, it's about responsibility, it's about fairness, and it's about concern, you know, for others as well. I mean, those are vital components.
It's gotten to a point where kids don't have to be accountable porque no les hacen nada.
I know, but
they get away with a lot. I've seen videos of kids beating up teachers, you know, and they get away with it. You know what? And they go viral. And if their friends know, dude, you went viral, man, kicking the teacher's ass. I mean, you know, they glorify really that shit, man.
It is very sad.
And now, you know, you get students doing things like, or youngsters doing things like walking behind people and, you know, punching them from the back and videotaping it so they can put it on their Instagram so everybody can freak out with it. I mean, there's got to be consequences.
Yes.
When I was growing up, there were consequences. I'd end up in jail. I'd end up in the office. They'd send me home. I mean, there was consequences. And, you know, as time progressed, you know, there was more sympathy and, you know, maybe something's going on with him. We need to be careful with him, you know, that they would put in gloves, to reprimand the kids, you know, pero it's all about accountability, you know. There's got to be consequences to what you do. And in this case, unfortunately, there were consequences to the entire team. And hopefully, from now on, every single football player in high school football in the state of Texas takes that into consideration, that when they do something like this, or maybe even something a little lighter than that, you need to take into consideration the rest of the team now and the entire school program. Because it's just gone. I mean, they could have gone to state and won.
I know. I received. I I received a photograph from a parent, actually, a parent of one of the players, and they were, parents of the teammates were outside of central office waiting to talk to someone, and there was the media was there and stuff like that. So I wonder what came out of that. But I mean, I feel like I don't think that the entire team should have been punished for that kid's actions. I really don't, because you have no control over that person. And I mean, what I do think is that a couple of videos that I did see, the coach is kind of like huddling over him and trying to keep him over here. And so the kid was walking back and forth, and the coach was following him.
Put that video again. Let's watch that video again.
To me,
while you're talking about it.
No. This isn't the one.
Oh, it's not?
No, this isn't the one. The other one that I was talking about was the one that we got off of the RGV football. They stream it live.
Yeah.
And so it shows the coach like after him, like a 2-year-old, like when you tell a 2-year-old, don't touch that, it breaks. Don't touch that, it breaks. Don't touch that, it breaks. And so the coach is kind of like, over him. And it's like, if the coach already knew, I mean, again, I'm looking at it from the outside in. I don't know exactly what happened, but it seemed to me as if the player was already in an aggressive, irate state that could not have been diffused. And then it shows after the coach kind of gets him off to the sidelines, it looks like the coach kind of looks the other way, and that's when the kid takes off, and you just see that same coach running towards the player, and he couldn't catch up, and so he tackled the official.
There's a picture you've got there of the initial hit where
Yes,
you see
yeah,
Freddie's face after he got. I mean, and the thing about it, he blindsided the referee. It's not like he went up to him face to face. The referee wasn't looking, and this guy just he bulldozed over him. This kid's like 225 pounds. He's in the 25 pound category in wrestling, and he's got pads. And he went straight at this official with no pads at all. And put the video on so people can see while we're talking about this.
Do you want me to do the with audio?
Yeah, without audio, and that way, they can see the severity of this. I mean, this official might end up with whiplash.
For sure.
He's over.
That's for
he's
sure.
55 years. He's 58 years old, something like that. He might have to see the chiropractor the rest of his life. This is a pretty big hit. I mean, he hit him, and so there's going to be some. And sometimes you don't feel it the first day, but a week later, 2 weeks later, you start having issues, and it could come from that.
Yep.
So I don't know if he's going to be able to. I don't know if he's going to wait till he starts having issues, or if he's gonna, sort of do something before that, and that way he can be compensated for whatever he's gonna have to go through, man.
I know for a fact that the official's going to be hurting months and even maybe years from this. I mean, whether he gets physical therapy or not, I think it's even when we get in a little, fender bender accident and, you get whiplash, you start feeling it. I know I was mentioning to you that other day, I think it was yesterday, that when my sister had that car accident, it wasn't major. She didn't end up in the hospital or anything like that, but she suffers from massive neck ache, head, like migraines, her knee. I mean, it's bad. And this was 2 years ago. So, our well wishes and our thoughts and prayers are with Freddie Gracia for sure.
Well, we'll see what happens. And, and the weird thing about it is they were playing the PSG Bears, and they beat the Bears to advance in the playoffs. And since they got forfeited because of this action, now the PSG Bears are supposedly going to the playoffs. They're going to advance instead of Edinburgh, which is a sad thing. I mean, because Edinburgh had a very good team this year, but ni modo.